Do you also have old jeans or old clothing or fabric from the thrift store, and have you ever wondered if you can create high quality products with them? Well, that's what I'm here to find out, because that's what I have been wondering for the past week. What I want to do is to test out if I can create sellable high quality products with these second-hand materials and if I am able to sell them on Etsy. I want to try this out with 2 berets. I feel like berets are something I might be a bit known for. I've been making them for many years, so it feels right to start this test with 2 berets. My goal is to make these items look like they are not made from second-hand materials and make them look like they are really high quality and high fashion. I found this gorgeous off-white polyester satin from the thrift store like 2 months ago, and ever since I have been dying to make something out of it, and I feel like this is the perfect project because there isn't a lot of this fabric, so I cannot do anything big with it. And the second material I have are these old jeans that my girlfriend was going to throw out because they are very, very worn out. But I said to her that please do not throw them out, give them to me. I will try to make something with these because I really love the color and texture of these denim jeans. I decided to start the project by updating my beret pattern. It was previously on a very thin paper, but I wanted to transfer it onto a sturdier one because I use it all the time. After that, I had to take the pants apart. I decided to use scissors for this and not unpick because that would have taken such a long time. I also pressed the jeans so that my pattern pieces lay on the jeans as flat as possible, and the outcome of the beret is going to be a lot better that way. When I started to cut the pattern pieces, I had to be really careful where I placed the pattern because the pattern pieces were not small enough to be placed on the jeans without them having the jean seams. So I figured out a way that I thought that looked the best, and I placed the seams right in the middle of the pattern pieces, and I thought that it was actually quite a nice look. So I'm very happy with the placement. Look at this unreal seam matching. Amazing. When you have curved seams, you need to ease the tension somehow. So I usually like to clip into the seams. You can also cut them a bit shorter if you want, but clipping them is, in my opinion, a better way. I also had to press all the seams open, which was extremely tedious. I really need to get like a tailor's ham. It would make everything so much easier. I wanted to add a very custom detail to this beret, so I decided to add some embroidery. If you are not new to my channel, then you know that I'm very into hand embroidery at the moment, but for that I needed to add some interlining to the fabric, and also I sketched the outlines of the embroidery with some fabric paint. I was struggling a bit with the embroidery for this since I had already connected a curved seam, so my surface was trying to curve, so it was quite hard to embroider. I also struggled because my jean fabric also had some elastane in it, so it was trying to stretch a bit, so it was not the ideal surface to embroider to, but in the end it came out quite nice, but it did take me quite a while to embroider. I started doing this side again because it was not perfect, and I want this to be perfect, especially if I'm selling it. I don't want anybody to get something that is not perfect, but I wanted to show you why I think the silver thread is really hard to work with. Because this is what happens to the thread. I don't know if you can see, but it just, when you are working with it, it just starts to get these, I don't even know what to call these, like bunches of thread. It like, I don't even know how to explain it, but it's just really hard to work with because it just starts to get stuck into the fabric and to the other thread, and it's a nightmare to work with. But yeah, blood, sweat and tears has definitely gone into this. I was able to finish the embroidery. I think it looks super good on this fabric. I'm very happy with it. And now I need to do the lining and it's done. I have a little piece of this satin fabric and I think it's quite a good match for the lining for this, so I will use this. I attached the first part of the lining to the actual beret. And I also clipped into that seam. I am going to understitch the lining so that the lining doesn't peek out when you wear it. That means that I will add a top stitch on top of the lining fabric with the seam allowances on the side of the lining. And as always, I pressed the seams. I am sewing on my tag at this point of the process. It's easier to sew now than when the lining is finished. I am considering if this process goes well and I will make more like sellable products, then I need to design a new logo and stuff. But for now I have these tags still, so I want to use these. These just basically say my whole name. The tag is sewed on now. Does anyone have any good recommendations on how to sew on a tag that looks better than this? I have done tags with hand stitching, but it takes time, so I am wondering if there is any like quicker ways than hand sewing to make a tag look really good. The last thing is to stitch this opening closed. This is the hole I turned the beret from. And then it's done. I was able to sew the lining by hand, closed, and the beret is done. It looks incredible. I'm so happy. Just look at this beret. I'm so happy with it. Like this color of the denim is perfect in my opinion. This silver embroidery really like enhances everything about it. It makes it look like expensive and custom. I would be really tempted to keep this for myself, but I really want to try to sell these. So let's see, I might have to make myself one if someone buys this. I really hope someone does, but if no one does, then I will have a really cool beret. I already started creating a prototype for the next beret, and this is going to be a really special one because I want to add these cute little wings onto the front of the beret, and this is the material I'm doing it with. So I want to add wings like this to both sides, and then I want to add embroidery in the middle, and I think it will look really cute. Well, I hope. And I did a pattern for this wing already. This is really tedious to do, so let's see. I made the first wing. It is a bit different from the prototype. I wanted to make the front part a bit smaller. I need to now make the other side. This is not an easy thing to sew. Since it's so small, it has really small curves. I'm using a very, very short stitch length. I am using a 1 on my machine. But what I'm gonna do is that I will sew this right size together, and I will also draw on the lines where I need to sew to help me a bit. I sewed around the pattern, and now I also cut some little notches around the curved edges, and now I will need to turn this, and I will use this tool to help me because I left the hole very small. When I was pressing this wing shape, I also used my pliers to help me press them correctly since the shape is so small. These pliers really help. If you don't have pliers for your sewing, then I really recommend getting them because they come in handy in so many situations. I stuffed the wings with some polyester wadding that you usually use for stuffed animals, and I once again used my pliers for this step. As I said, they come in handy many times. I also had to sew the opening shot by hand. I drew on the spirals with a fabric pencil, and my fabric pencil sucks. It was really hard to get off. I really need to get a new one, but I had to draw really clear outlines for me when I was sewing because this part is the hardest of this whole beret. Trying to sew really tiny spirals without an embroidery foot on your machine. It was extremely hard, but the end result was really good, so I'm very happy. After that, I had to cut out the rest of the beret patterns. And I also drew on my design with pencil, and then I could start to embroider. The embroidery for this went much more smooth than for the other beret, since I had not yet attached the top of the beret to this piece, so my embroidery surface was flat. I was watching the documentary Trust Me, the False Prophet on Netflix while I was doing this. It was very disturbing, but I highly recommend it. It was really good. Usually when I'm embroidering, I like to watch documentaries. I feel like they are the perfect thing to watch when you're doing embroidery. The rest of the process was very similar to the other beret. I had to pin the pieces together, I had to sew them together, I had to do some pressing, I had to clip the curved seams, just a lot of the same as for the other beret. I attached the wings with hand sewing, I went over the spirals I had done with my sewing machine, and I also did some invisible stitching on the back side of the wing so that they are secure. And the final step was to sew the lining pieces together and sew the whole shot with hand stitching. And the beret is done. Oh my gosh, it turned out so cute. I'm so happy. I am very happy with the final outcome of these berets. They came out better than I had hoped for. I have listed these two on Etsy already. If you're interested, go check it out. I will link it in my description box. But if you're not, that's totally okay. But if you enjoyed this video, then please give it a like and a comment. And I hope I will see you in my next video. Bye!